the Yellow Jacob here. And, this video is going to be tough to make just because, well, there's a lot of disturbing things going on in the sports world these days, and, yeah, I mean, like I say, I'll kind of give you a general thought on where my head is at, but let's just say prayers go out to Kyle Beach. Prayers go out to all those people that have been affected by sexual assault, that have been affected by these cover-up schemes that have been, you know, hush money funds, and yeah, so basically, kind of go ahead and dive into this a little bit here, but the reason why I say Kyle Beach was because, well, for those of you who don't know, the Chicago Blackhawks are under fire for 2010 due to sexual assault, basically a confirmed sexual assault case against one of their players during their 2010 Stanley Cup run, in which Kyle Beach got sexually assaulted by their video coach, Brad Aldridge, and they swept it under the rug. And also going into another scandal that's going on in the Washington football team world, which the fact that Dan Snyder's still around fucking gets me, because that guy should have been fired years ago. Should have been forced to get rid of the team years ago. I mean, years ago. But yeah, like I say, because there's allegations there too, but of course, you know, the NFL said there's nothing wrong. We did our investigation correctly. Oh, bite my shiny metal. If you believe that shit for 1 second, you're out of your mind. But yeah, like I say, at the end of the day, though, the reason why I'm making this video is because greed. Greed and selfishness are a fucking problem. And, to be fair, though, it's just like, what do you expect when literally these, you know, owners are making billions and billions of dollars for basically doing fucking nothing? And, you know, to a guy like you or to a guy like me or, you know, everyone out there, you know, if you're offered $2 or $3 million to shut up and not say anything, a lot of people probably would take that just because, again, that's a lot of money for a lot of us, you know. That could definitely take care of bills. That could definitely help catch up on debts. That could definitely help pay off stuff. If not, move forward on another venture or whatever, but It always, I mean, this is nothing new, though, with sports, but it always irks me and always pains me to see shit like this, just because at the end of the fucking day, you know, it's all about money. You know, screw the players, screw the fans, screw the people that have been mistreated, abused, degraded, defiled, whatever analogy, verb, noun, whatever you want to use there. It's just, it's sickening. I mean, because again, going back to the Chicago Blackhawks scandal that's come out, you know, they were going for a Stanley Cup at that point. And what even makes me more sick about this is Brad Aldridge, the same guy that was, you know, found guilty of doing that to Kyle Beach. And like I say, there's plenty of, like, reports out there. There's, you know, 107-page documents of all the findings and stuff like that. It's really quite gruesome and quite disgusting what people can do. But anyway, you know. And the thing that gets me about Brad Aldridge, too, kind of going back to that point, is, well, he was actually given a letter of recommendation, and then he goes on and basically abuses a child in Michigan, you know, a Michigan high school hockey team, and just, granted, he's now a sexual predator, which, good, fuck people like that, you know. It's just, again, the problem is the money, the greed. It's just like, again, who wouldn't take, a couple $1,000,000? Who wouldn't take a few $1,000,000 not to say anything? Especially because to them, guys that are raking in, $1, $2, $3+ billion a year. I mean, hell, the Dallas Cowboys themselves are literally, I think, like the #1 or #2 most grossing franchise according to Forbes. Like in everything, like pop culture, just, almost everything. And the NFL itself is racking in close to 10 billion, if not over 10 billion by now. I mean, I know that number has fluctuated, but the NFL by far is one of the most, if not the most profitable businesses in the entire world. I mean, but again, it's just billionaires club. It's just these greedy owners and, these people that, well, we can't be having a scandal under my watch. Here's 200, here's 2 million, 3 million, 10 million to shut up and just pretend nothing happened. And then eventually the truth comes out. So, yeah, and of course in the NFL too, like I said with the whole Washington thing there too, it's just like the fact Dan Snyder's still in baffles my ass. But then again, money and Goodell, and I'm pretty sure Goodell and Dan Snyder are butt buddies at this fucking point. But again, it's just as a sports fan that loves watching the players, watching the game, watching, how everything goes together. Business is cutthroat, and I have family members that are, managers or like supervisors of different roles in different companies and stuff like that. So I've seen some of the stuff behind the curtain. Not pretty, just because, again, business is cutthroat. I mean, business is all about money, because at the end of the day, if there's no money, there's no employees, and if there's no money coming in, there's no business, there's no company, there's no nothing. But when it gets in the way of human morals, that's what gets me. The fact that Chicago was taught, literally knew about this. I mean, it would be one thing if, it was just coming out now, like he just came out now about what happened in 2010. But he came out literally like a week or two after, like right after this happened. And they had a meeting, and yeah. So needless to say, there's going to be a lot more fallout when it comes to that. And of course, the players too are not, altogether blameless here, because they had to have, at least some of them had to have known, like the captain and the assistant captain, like Taze and Kane and those guys, they had to have known. I mean, as being like the leaders of that squad, it's just disgusting to see this shit. But it happens everywhere. Not even just in sports, but just in life in general. And again, kind of wrapping this up, as a sports fan and as a human that believes in morals, it's just sad to see all the shit that goes on behind the curtain. Because a lot of these guys and a lot of these people aren't treated like players. They're treated like cattle or like products, basically. And I know I'm not the first one to say this. Definitely won't be the last one that'll be mentioning about this stuff, but who knows? I mean, all I can say is just hopefully this ends eventually, but we all know it probably won't. We all know there's a lot more that'll probably go on with this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 and yeah. Again, I just hope whoever was a part of that didn't do their due diligence, with the whole Chicago Blackhawks scandal, and the Washington football team, like, assistants that are coming out against Dan Snyder actually get their shit heard. Because I think a lot of people, like, nowadays, like, more and more people are realizing that there's a lot of bullshit that needs to be cleaned up. And that at the end of the day, these are actual human beings. These are people with feelings. These are people with families. These are people with morals. These are people with, you know, a lot of people would kill to be athletes, you know, make all that money, you know, be set for life and, you know, all that stuff. But it's just like, when it comes against the human morals, that's what gets me. And when you start treating people like people, you know, and not as money and stuff like that, this world will be a lot better place, but we all know that'll never happen. So, again, to wrap this thing up, whatever happens with Chicago, hopefully all that gets taken care of the way it should be. And with Washington, hopefully all those guys that, you know, have voiceless voices get heard, because shit needs to change. And quickly. So until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good one.